come the drums.
Hi, guys. We're back. I'm back. You're listening. So it's we, I guess. Something like that. Guys, this is another direct-to-podcast edition of Pardon the Dissent. That is what you're listening to now, a pre-recorded version of the show that has never aired live on radio like our Monday night shows that air every Monday night at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time on AM950 KTNF right here in the Twin Cities where I'm at. But this is a direct-to-podcast show that I do once a week. Hopefully you guys who are regulars, you've got that part figured out already. Of course, some of you guys listen to just the podcast, so you probably listen to the live shows as podcasts too. So, I don't know. Whatever. You guys are going to figure it out. You guys know. We do 2 shows a week. One's live, one's direct to podcast. But they all go to the podcast, and I make them available to everybody absolutely free so you can listen. Just a programming note. Is that a right way to say it? Programming note thing. Change. Normally in the podcast, direct to podcast shows, I would play ads for my sponsors for my show throughout the podcast, right? And I know not everybody likes to listen to ads, especially people who are very specifically podcast listeners. So what I'm going to do on the direct-to-podcast versions of the show, I'm no longer going to play the commercials in there, but I will still mention each of my sponsors and talk a little bit about them as I jump in between different stories that we're talking about. And I hope you guys appreciate that and why I need to do that because, number one, my sponsors are awesome. I don't ever take money from people who I don't support, who I don't know personally, or whose product I don't use, or any kind of company that I wouldn't want to deal with. You know, like you're never going to hear me do an ad for like De Beers Diamonds or something like that. Like, yeah, come buy these worthless rocks that are a controlled market that aren't really worth what they're saying they're worth, and they also lead to people dying, losing limbs and stuff. No, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to try to pitch stuff like that. I'm never going to be selling BP gas. You know, like come on down to your local BP. We kill dolphins, pollute the water. Yeah, I'm not going to do that either. No, I'm only going to tell you about sponsors that are legit sponsors. So I'll be doing that too. Let me knock out, what's today's date? Oh, yeah. Today's date, September 24th, the year 2015. I am recording this at like 12:11 a.m. is the time. I'll be releasing this as soon as I record it. So you guys who are getting up early on Thursday, doing whatever you do early morning, I don't know, you jog, right? Eat some toast and then jog. I don't know, that's weird. You can listen to me in the morning. So let me tell you first, I'll tell you about one of my sponsors, and then we'll get to some stories here. I'm going to tell you first about probably my number one sponsor, title sponsor here, Pardon the Dissent, is Bell Bonds Doctor. Bell Bonds Doctor. This probably, if you're listening to me in like New Zealand, I got listeners in New Zealand and United Kingdom and all over. This doesn't really help you because you guys aren't here. But this is like for like in the Twin Cities, Minnesota area type deal. They're a Bell Bonds company, right? And I've talked about my past before. I've used Bell Bonds services before. But the company who I will be dealing with from this point on, a company that I trust, a company that is very experienced in the field of Bell bonding, and a very trustworthy company is Bell Bonds Doctor. You can find out more about Bell Bonds Doctor by going to their website. That's bellbondsdoctor.com, bellbondsdoctor.com. When you go to their website, you can see basically everything that a Bell Bonds service offers. It kind of explains all that. Takes away some of the mystery and answers a lot of questions that you may have. So you can see that as well there too. And then also I'll give you their number so you can put it in your cell phone if you live here in the Twin Cities where I'm at in Minnesota, or if you're ever traveling through here and you get some cuffs slapped on you for whatever reason. That's your story, bro. I don't need to hear all your personal details. It happens sometimes. You'll have the number. It's Bell Bonds Doctor. That's 612-332-3030. 612-332-3030. Keep that in your phone. Call them if you have a problem. Boom. There we go. See, look, there's one sponsor mentioned already out of the way. No issues whatsoever. Get that taken care of. All right, let's jump into some stories. Some tales from the horrible news in the world. And man, it's gonna feel like a themed show here because first couple segments is gonna be a lot about what's going on with corporations that got in trouble, got busted, doing evil corporation stuff. That's what we're gonna be talking about. Let me first start with this one here, then I'll go back in time a little bit. One of the big news stories right now in the world, because it kind of affects the world market, is the issues going on with Volkswagen. Volkswagen, Farfanugan, right? Everybody knows Volkswagen, right? The Herbie the Love Bug car company, right? They got stuck their hand in some boo-boo. They got in trouble. They got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. They did, yeah. This story here I'm going to be getting some information from is from the NewYorkTimes.com. And the headline here, Volkswagen CEO Martin Winterkorn resigns amid emissions scandals. Yeah. So if you guys don't know, Volkswagen, they was doing some high-tech messing around with the computers in their cars. See, I'm a genius. See, I use all this technical terminology. I hope you guys can keep up. They were using all these weird button stuff, right, with their Volkswagens, right? And they did a little thing, right, that when a Volkswagen goes in for an emissions test, right, to make sure it's not putting too much pollutants out in the air, killing the environment and so forth, that it would like misread, right, or change the performance of the engine during that test, right? So then it would like lie to the test. It would say, "Oh yeah, we're totally not putting a lot of poison." This is me doing an impression of the computer talking to the emissions computer. Try to keep up. Yeah. We're not putting a lot of poison in there. This car's super efficient. Yeah, we're totally good. And then as soon as they unplug that emissions tester, then that little computer doohickey thing that they changed inside their cars, it would switch back, right, to a better performing car, but a car that would release more toxic crap into the environment. That's the gist of it. I know, very complicated terminology I use here. This guy's an idiot. I follow what he's saying, but he's an idiot. Yeah, I'm not the smartest guy in this room, and I'm the only person in this room. Anyway, yeah, let's do that. Martin Winterkorn resigned as chief executive of Volkswagen on Wednesday. That's yesterday. Here is a quote from Mr. Winterkorn. As CEO, I can't do a German accent. I don't really do accents. I do really good Southern guys. I can do, yeah, I'm from the South. I can do that. Can't do German. But just use your imagination. As CEO, I accepted responsibility for the irregularities that have been found in diesel engines, right? He accepted responsibility for it, right? But then he continued, I am not aware of any wrongdoing on my part. Wait a minute. As CEO, I accept responsibility for irregularities that have been found in diesel engines, but I am not aware of any wrongdoing on my part. Okay, this man. Of course, this is speculation. I don't have proof. I don't hang out with Mr. Martin Winterkorn. We're not buddies, right? I never met the guy. But this already sounds like some BS. It does, right? Like, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and step down now and back away from all this. And this thing that was going on in this company that I am the chief executive officer of, CEO, right? I had no clue that was what was going on, right? Okay? So let me explain again and not try to be so ridiculous with it. Is he's trying to say now that he had no clue what was going on. Those are his words, but he's going to take responsibility for it, right? But what he's saying is that he did not know that an engine that was supposed to make a great performance where it comes to both performance as far as driving and both minimizing the amount of CO2 that it releases into the atmosphere, right? That's the what's awesome about this engine. This is a selling point of this engine. This is why people would buy these diesel cars. It's like, yeah, man, it's got great performance, and it's not nearly as bad on the environment as other cars, right? That's a selling point, right? So he's under the, he just took it on faith that they came up with this. He didn't have to have proof from them to say, hey, look, we came up with this engine, boss. It's super good. Super good. Lots of performance, right? Not a lot of pollution. Yeah. It's amazing. He just took, oh, okay, that's great. Let's start selling that. He didn't need to look at anything, right? He didn't need to look at some kind of chart, some kind of gauge, some kind of model to like verify that what they were saying, when number one was true, and number two, understand how the product you're selling works. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think he knew what was going on. I think he was like, hey, look, here we came up with this. Because this is what really happened, right? They made up. It's programming. It's like I don't know. Put it like a cheat code on a video game, right? That's what it's essentially what this is, right? So I think, that somebody had this brilliant idea and they came and was like, look, hey, Martin Winterkorn, we can make a whole lot of money by lying to our customers, and all we got to do is just change this software, hit some switches, whatever. And then, we'll just, sell it like that. And we just won't tell anybody. He's like, are you sure we're not going to get caught? No. We're not going to get caught, bro. Because what we're going to do is it'll only happen when they're doing the emissions testing, right? And it's just something that happens within the computer, right? Okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, see, that's what I think sounds more realistic, right? No one, if you're a CEO, if you're a good CEO, and this is a multi-billion-dollar corporation, if somebody comes to you and say, hey, look, we came up with this great new engine. It's great on the environment, super high performance. Let's sell it. You're going to want to see something. You're going to see some proof of how that works. You're not just going to take it on faith. Oh, well, wonderful. Here, let me sign some checks. It doesn't happen like that. It does not. So I automatically think he's a liar. And if it wasn't, right, if there was somebody else, a vice president or somebody else in charge, why would you not, seek that out, find that, expose that person, and then after the fact, then maybe step down still if that's not satisfaction enough, but whatever. Reading a little bit more from the same story from the New York Times. Mr. Winterkorn's resignation came less than a week after the company admitted that some diesel cars in the United States contain software designed to evade emissions tests. On Tuesday, Volkswagen said that 11 million cars worldwide contained the software, although the company did not clarify whether it was also used to deceive regulators in other countries, right? Because this is just talking about, this is a U.S. thing, just to be clear here. They sell Volkswagens all over the world, but these 11 million cars is worldwide, okay? But U.S. is, EPA, they're the ones that made the bust, whatever. But, yeah, 11 million cars. That's 11 million instances of fraud. 11 million times they sold a vehicle to a customer, and that customer, if they, I'm assuming most customers pay attention to things like, hey, how good of an engine is this? How much pollution does it make? They were lied to. They said, well, we're going to get X amount of performance, X amount of horsepower, and we're going to do this much damage to the environment. I don't see it in this story, but I've been reading multiple stories from this, and to quote, you can confirm this on your own, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. The amount of poisonous CO2 exhaust that was coming out of the engine when the software that tricked the testing thing wasn't on, when they were just driving, it was 40% higher than U.S. standards allowed. This is how bad the cheat, the hustle that Volkswagen was doing, right? I don't have the stats in front of me, so I can't give you complete information here. But again, look it up on your own. It's part of the deal. Whatever the national standard is in the United States, the engine itself was actually putting out 40% more than the national standard, almost half more. This is 11 million cars worldwide. I don't have the specifics of how many here in the United States. This is not just bad for the U.S. either. It's not bad. Like I said, these cars are worldwide. And it's not just the pollution that's bad, right? When you do something of this nature, this kind of scheme, this kind of scandal, you're going to take, you're going to affect the lives of many type of people, right? Including the employees of Volkswagen. Going back to the story, in Germany, even before word of Mr. Witterkorn's resignation, there was a growing concern on Wednesday that the scandal could damage the country's economy, which revolves around the auto industry. Volkswagen is one of the country's biggest companies, employing 274,000 people in Germany at 29 factories, and it already is struggling with high labor costs. That figure does not count for the tens of thousands of people employed in Germany by Volkswagen suppliers, right? So what Volkswagen has done, and I don't know, again, point the finger, whoever you want to point the finger at, but they have screwed the consumer, number one. They've screwed Volkswagen dealerships across the United States and now across the world. They have screwed their own employees, people who manufacture cars. They have screwed, who else have they screwed? All the attached revenue that comes to Germany via the Volkswagen Corporation. They've screwed all of that. They've screwed all the people who've invested in Volkswagen, shareholders, people who buy their stock. They screwed all these people, right? Volkswagen has set aside, because they're expecting a lot of, I've heard quotes as high as $16 billion in possible fines. $16 billion possible fines. But they did announce that they have set aside $7.27 billion to prepare for the fallout for the punishment and penalties involved with this scam. I mean, you can't call it anything else. It's not an accident. It's a scam. And this, again, I've got some other stories that are along the same vein, but this is something that we talk about so often here on the show. This is the mentality of corporations, not just the United States. This is a German corporation. They don't care, folks. They don't. It's profits above everything else. And if it means breaking the rules, cheating, lying, putting the jobs of German people at risk, American Volkswagen dealers at risk, shareholders at risk, just to see that quarterly profit go up a little bit more, they're willing to do it. It's proof right here. There's no denying this. It's not an accident. Oh, yeah, we accidentally put this software into our cars to make it full emissions testing. No, it doesn't happen like that. It's this is big. I mean, this could really set back Volkswagen, bad. I would predict that probably now that we might see Volkswagen get bought up again by somebody else. Who knows where it will go? Follow that story. But like I said, I've got other stories that are all in the same vein, and I'm going to stay within the realm of the world of auto manufacturers. And we'll go back in time a week or two here, because this is a Volkswagen story just came out this week here. But the week before that, there was a very big settlement between General Motors and the U.S. Department of Justice. And I'm going to get some information here about that from AlJazeera.com. A very good source of information here. Headline: GM settlement shows Justice Department isn't serious about justice. The U.S. Department of Justice settled with General Motors over faulty engine switches that killed more than 120 people who lost control of their vehicles, the airbags failing to deploy. GM will pay $900 million, recall 2.6 million cars, and offer some money to survivors and families of the dead, most of which were unable to collect damages because of GM's 2009 bankruptcy. You guys remember the 2009 bankruptcy when the United States government, the taxpayers, I guess would be the right way to say it, bailed out General Motors? You remember that, right? Instead of letting the free market work the way that capitalists claim they want it to work, instead of letting the company just go under, we bailed them out. You know, the complete opposite of what you as a taxpayer will have happen. Like if you go bankrupt, right, and you lose your home and all that stuff, the government is going to say, here's some tax dollars to get yourself right. No. It doesn't happen like that. But it did for GM. And this settlement here, I can't not assume that this is somehow connected. It's like, because this is a horrific injustice, if you want to even call this a settlement. Okay, let's go back to some of the numbers here before I proceed in the story. 120 people. That's confirmed. Like, we don't know that there may be some more. There could have been some accidents caused. It was never connected, whatever. But we know for a fact at least 120 people have been killed because of the faulty ignition switches. Okay? Now we know that. So now, so far, what you've heard sounds pretty bad so far. Here's where it gets worse. Before the first car with a faulty engine switch was sold more than a decade ago, General Motors knew that the ignition switches were prone to fail based on court papers. How do you like that one, right? Go back to the number again. 120 people have been killed. And before they ever got into those cars, before they ever bought those cars, before those faulty cars ever reached a dealership, General Motors knew that they had the faulty switches in there. Yeah. Continuing with the story, yet despite knowing that there were deadly consequences, General Motors neither changed the design nor warned motorists. How is this not a simple case of manslaughter? How is it not? Think about this for a second, okay? The people in charge, at the very least, the person who's in charge of design and testing, at the very least, that person knew that this was a faulty component of the car. And to know that it's faulty, you have to know what the end result could be, what could happen. And instead of saying, hey, wait a minute here, I know it's super cool when we make money and stuff, but this is going to kill people, or it can kill people, right? So instead of doing that, they said, well, we really want some money, and we're just going to sell it anyway, and whatever happens, happens. Okay? Now, this is going to be a topic I'm going to refer to back as I go through a few more of these stories, is think about this. Okay, say I didn't like somebody and I wanted to kill that person. And what I did is I went to their house at night while they were sleeping and broke into their General Motors car. And what I did was I removed a perfectly working, non-faulty ignition switch and then installed a faulty ignition switch, like, say, I don't know, like the one from this story that I'm reading, all right, and installed it in the car, knowing that it has a high potential of causing an accident and killing that person who I don't like. Now, it's a very convoluted and complex way to do it, but that's intent, me doing that, okay? So that could be extrapolated out to premeditated murder, right? It's not like a bomb in the car. It's not like a bullet in the head. But it would be me intentionally installing a faulty part that could lead to the death of that person. Right? That's one example, me on a single, very small scale. But if you think about it, that's exactly what General Motors did. Right? They didn't do it with the malice of wanting to kill the 120 people that were killed. They probably didn't know who the 120 people were before they were killed. But they still knew what the possible consequences were. They knew that if they put these parts in there, could lead to death. What's the difference? What's the difference between me individually going into a car and altering something within the car that's going to lead to an accident and lead to potential death versus them just doing it and selling it, right? And selling it and making money, right? If you're a hitman and you have people pay you to kill people, that's disgusting. It's horrible. You're a monster. How could you ever do something like that? But our perceptions as consumers, as people, were turned around because General Motors killed people for profit, and these are deaths that could have been prevented. They didn't stop it. It wasn't intentional. They didn't go out. They go, hey, we're General Motors. We're awesome. Let's go kill people. They didn't do that. But they put that dollar, that profit, again, that quarterly return, above the safety of their customers. How is that not the same thing as some kind of manslaughter, at least? Going back to the story, Preet Bharara, the U.S. Attorney for Manhattan, reassured reporters that it remains possible, this is a quote, remains possible we will charge an individual, end quote, in the future. Preet, P-R-E-E-T, Bharara, U.S. Attorney for Manhattan. We might charge people. Let's go back to my scenario, okay, where I intentionally put a faulty switch into this person who I don't like's car, and they drove the car and they died. How would you feel if the attorney prosecuting me was Preet Bharara, and he came out and he made a statement to you? Okay, here's the deal. We know that Mr. Vincent altered this guy's car with a faulty switch, and the guy died, and we may possibly be charging Mr. Vincent in the future. Maybe. Possibly. All right? You would look at that dude like he's an idiot. Like, what the hell is your problem? You're the attorney here? You're the U.S. attorney? And you might prosecute Vincent? It's easy to understand. It's easy to get emotional on that one single scale. But 120 people killed by General Motors' greed, malicious disregard for human life in the name of money. When Preet Bharara says that maybe we just okay. Guess he knows what he's talking about. But it gets worse, though. Let's look at a comparison here. Here's a comparison the story provides. The writer of the story wants us to compare this story with General Motors to what happened with Toyota. You guys remember back, Japanese automaker Toyota lied to customers about its 2010 safety recall. Remember, they were having problems like the cars wouldn't stop, something like that. Only 5 deaths were established in that case. 5 people versus the 120 from General Motors. 5 people have been attributed to the safety recall from Toyota. The U.S. Department of Justice made Toyota pay $1.2 billion compared to General Motors, who killed 120 people, paying $900 million. It also filed criminal charges against the company, but deferred prosecution. So in this case, we at least have a charge, a criminal charge, which we don't have in the General Motors case. But, that was just like, yeah, we charged you, but we're not going to do anything about it. See you later. Each death cost General Motors shareholders $7.5 million. That's doing the math between the $900 million that was the settlement divided by 120 people that were killed. $7.5 million. While Toyota paid $240 million per death, because remember they only had 5. So they paid $240 per death. Why is it when General Motors kills a human being, that human being was only worth $7.5 million, but when Toyota kills somebody, their people, the value of human life goes up to $240 million? Why is that? Going back to the story, and he asked that question. How is it that the Japanese company was forced to pay 32 times as much per death as an American company in a largely similar case about defective cars and failure to act properly? That's a rhetorical question. I definitely think I know the answer. And why no individual prosecutions at GM or Toyota? Why is that? Bahara hinted that criminal charges would be difficult to bring in the GM case. This rationale pervades the White House. President Barack Obama, who for years taught constitutional law at the University of Chicago, made the same weak excuse, telling 60 Minutes in 2011 that, quote, some of the most damaging behavior on Wall Street is in some cases some of the least ethical behavior on Wall Street, but wasn't illegal. That's why we had to change the laws, end quote. Wrong. Fraud is always a crime. Filing false statements under oath, transferring money by wire, and mailing documents signed under penalty of perjury constitutes fraud. Your president is lying to you. Still in the story. In addition, in the mortgage frauds and related securities frauds that sank the economy 7 years ago, there was a bonus that should have assured convictions galore. Many insiders wrote emails and memos to top management about wrongdoings. Those internally blowing the whistle included compliance officers whose job it was to identify corporate wrongdoing internally and tell top management so it would stop. Instead of that happening, though, compliance officers were shown the door. Are you guys keeping up with the theme here? Are you starting to realize what's going on? Still in the story from Al Jazeera. At this point, I think it's not an exaggeration to say that the Obama administration runs a protection racket for its friends in corporate America. That isn't all of corporate America, just its friends. General Motors is in. Toyota is out. Wall Street is in. Small-time mortgage brokers in places like Tampa are out. White-collar crime prosecutions are at a 20-year low. Data analyzed by TRAC, T-R-A-C, the Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse at Syracuse University shows. This year, less than 1 in 20 cases brought by the Justice Department fits a broad definition of white-collar crime, which includes frauds against banks as opposed to frauds by banks. Data analyzed by TRAC shows. There's more to the story here, but I think you're kind of getting the point of where this show is going. We're about 34 minutes in here, and like I said, I've got some more stories to talk about, but we're going to take a quick break right here while I'm going to readjust my notes. We'll be right back, and then we've got more bad news coming out of corporate America. This is Pardon the Dissent, guys. Prepare yourself. There's more to come.
You know my CEO corporate steez. Please overthrow governments overseas in a breeze. Politicians in my pockets for a few hundred G's. So if I'm ever in court, my assets are never freeze. I got a job and a house and a bank account. When I'm out, I doubt that's something you can say. And if not, then a fake death like Kenneth Lay. Make money every day, the world burns on its access. While y'all struggling to pay taxes, I'm getting my money the fastest. Memos and faxes, shredded up documents, slush funds through the corrupt continents. But they don't want me indicted, cause they don't want my dirty laundry aired when I fight it. Don't get my lawyers excited, cause what good is a law if you can't rewrite it? I got CIA traitors, dictators, so fuck y'all whistleblowers and haters.
We want to hear from you, so get connected to Pardon the Dissent. You can find us on Facebook by searching for Pardon the Dissent. Follow us on Twitter at PT Dissent. Email us at pardonthedissent@gmail.com and visit our website, pardonthedissent.com.
I wanna see the Constitution burn. Wanna watch the White House overturn. Wanna witness some blue blood bleed red. Wanna come and lead the KKK. Wanna pull and shoot the NRA. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Murder the government. Murder the government. Murder the government and men. Yeah, yeah. Murder the government. Murder the government. Murder the government and men. Murder the government.
Pardon the Dissent, direct to podcast episode of Pardon the Dissent. Joey Vincent here. I want to talk about a couple more sponsors real fast before we jump back in the stories. Minnehaha Recording Company. It's based right here in the Twin Cities, located in South Minneapolis. Minnehaha Recording Company is owned and operated by Pardon the Dissent's very own Tony Williamette. Tony Williamette is the producer who produces the live shows on Monday night. And not only have I worked with him with the radio show here, but I've done podcast work with him and some other projects with him before. And Tony, how can I say this? Tony is not in it just for the money type guy. Like, he wants a quality product. So when you go in there, you slap some money down on the table. He wants to earn that money, and he wants to do a really, really good job. So if you have a recording project that you need, maybe you want to record your band, right? You guys want to do an album. Maybe you want to do a singing demo, or maybe you want to record a podcast of your own. Contact Tony. He will help you put that together, and he will do a great job of doing it. If you want to learn more about him, go to minnehaharecording.com. minnehaharecording.com. On his website, you will find samples of past work that he's done. You will see pictures of his beautiful recording studio. It is not a giant studio, but not a small studio. Very intimate would be a great way to describe it. Beautiful, immaculate. He's spent the last year just totally refurbishing what was used to be, get this, a gas station. But now you walk in and it's just the highest end, high quality equipment that you could ever dream to want to use. Plenty of stuff there available for you to use. Well done, very well decorated. It's a very relaxing environment to create in, is what I'm getting at. So you'll see pictures of that as well too. And after you've seen that, you checked it out, and you're ready to sit down and talk with Tony about a project that you want to do, give him a call, 612-564-8088. Again, 612-564-8088. Tony Williamette with Minnehaha Recording Company. All right. Let me go ahead and knock out another one here, too. We'll get this done. Boom. Get it over with. Another one of my wonderful sponsors here for Pardon the Dissent is Natural Pure Drinking Water. Again, this is probably mostly geared to people who live here in Minnesota, Twin Cities area, but if you're ever in the area, give them a try. This is the drinking water they sell in grocery stores. It's basically tap water that has been processed in such a way that is even beyond the scope of what you would buy in your bottled water. Best thing about this is, or one of the many good things about their product, is that it's not the same price as the companies who are a lot more detrimental to the environment. See, because what you're doing is when you're going to the grocery store for natural pure water, they bring the equipment to the store. The equipment is there, right? So it's tap water that runs into the equipment that they provide, and you bottle it yourself right there. They have BPA-free plastic bottles, like gallon size and 5 gallon size, that you just fill up, and you're getting it for pennies on the dollar, right? When I go fill up my 5 gallon containers, I think I pay, what do I pay, $1.97 for 5 gallons? Something like that. It's crazy, right? It's a great discount just above the price. And better not, this is not like your Nestle company who's out stealing water somewhere in California, bottling it in regular plastic bottles, then shipping it and spending gas and putting more pollution into the environment via their transport trucks that drive it all the way over the country. No, they bring the process to you. And definitely, it's the only drinking water that I drink. I say that, I'm not even kidding. I have a glass of it right here in front of me now as I'm recording this. But natural, pure drinking water is definitely the water that I want you guys to try, and you should be drinking too. Go to naturalpuredrinkingwater.com, naturalpuredrinkingwater.com. Go to their website, take a look around. It talks about the packaging that they offer. It talks about how their process works and how to get in touch with them. And if you don't have natural pure drinking water where you buy water, say, hey, you would like some. So maybe they can get their process available to you. If you're in the Twin Cities, I get mine at Cub Grocery Store. That's where I buy mine at. They have a very convenient setup. Before we left, we were talking mostly about the automotive industry and some stories that have come out of the past couple weeks of just some, oh God, some criminal behavior. There's no other way to say it. Yeah, I'm not going to change words for the corporations. That's what they would say it if I did it. And we're going to kind of keep along that vein here. This is not so much criminal behavior as more as morally bankrupt behavior. And everybody knows about this story now. This guy, the former hedge fund manager, Martin, how do you say his last name? Shkreli, Shkreli. This is the dude, I know you've heard about it. If you're on social media, you can't get away from this story. He bought the rights to a 60-plus-year-old drug that was selling for, I think it was like $13 a pill, something like that. It only costs $1. I think the report was that it only costs around $1 per pill to manufacture. When he bought the rights to this pill, they were selling it for $13. Well, when he bought it, he jacked up the price and was selling it for like $750 per pill. I'm reading this story here from U.S. Uncut. The headline, the chart reveals the inhumanity of the U.S. drug prices compared to other countries. Corrupt hedge fund manager Martin Shkreli, I'm going to say it like that, I don't know if that's how you say it, who hiked up the price of an AIDS pill by 5,500% overnight, is only the latest example of price gouging in the pharmaceutical industry. But U.S. drug prices have been skyrocketing across the country for years. As the following chart indicates, drug prices in the U.S. are up 10 times higher than in numerous other developed countries. Data comes from International Federation of Health Plans 2013 Comparative Price Report. So you know about him. This is just basically giving you some information about other pills. And it doesn't have the company's names listed for each pill, but it's you can look it up, find out who owns it, find out who's doing this. And it's basically, it's going to give you the price comparisons between Canada, United Kingdom, Spain, Netherlands, and the United States. And I'll go through each one of them here. And, Enbrel, Enbrel. It's an autoimmune drug. In Canada, you get that for $1,646. I'm assuming this is per treatment, I'm assuming. The UK, United Kingdom, that same autoimmune drug, $1,117. In Spain, $1,386. In the Netherlands, $1,509. Now, the United States, though, for that exact same drug that you can get for less than $1,700 at every other country, $3,000. $3,000. Again, it doesn't specify if that's per pill. I don't think it's per pill. Oh, no, excuse me. It's cost per month. There we go. I just found the note on it. That price was cost per month for that Enbrel, an autoimmune medication, twice the price of anywhere else. United States. Celebrex, Celebrex. It's a pain medication. Cost per month in Canada, $51. Cost per month, United Kingdom, $112. Spain, $164. Netherlands, $112. United States, $330. All right, I'm not going to sit here and read every one of these drugs and give you every one of these price things because that would make for boring podcasting. But you can look it up on your own. Again, usuncut.com. This chart reveals the inhumanity of U.S. drug prices compared to other countries. But let me give you the big one here. It's I guess this is the grand finale. This is called Gleevec, Gleevec. And this is for leukemia, a horrific condition to have, oftentimes fatal. The cost per month in Canada, $1,141. The cost per month in the United Kingdom, $2,697. Cost per month in Spain, $3,348. Cost per month in Netherlands, $3,321. Cost per month for the treatment of Gleevec, a pharmaceutical that treats leukemia, $8,500. I don't know, people who listen to the show, where you side on things about capitalism. Man, it's got to be a free market. You got to pay for stuff. People deserve to, if they come up with something and they own the rights to something, they deserve to sell it and make a profit at it. Maybe you're on the other end of the scale. Yeah, nothing's wrong with socialism, man. We should all take care of each other. Wherever you are on that spectrum, put down your ideology for a minute. Your dogma, your belief system of how you think things need to be, and answer this simple question. If the technology, the medication, the skill to prevent a death, to prevent pain, to prevent suffering is there, but the person who is in pain, who's suffering, who needs the service, who needs the treatment, can't afford it, is your belief system on how something as silly as an economy, ours based on a fiat fake currency of debt-based paper, is it really worth it? Is you really that hardcore about your belief system that you're going to let a person die? You're going to let a person suffer? Let's go on to another story. This kind of moves back, and we mentioned a little bit of this in the General Motors story, a little bit about the mortgage collapse. And this isn't specifically the mortgage collapse, but this has to do with real estate. I'm not going to read the whole story here, just give you enough to get the gist of it. This is one that you're going to have to look up on your own. Getting long on time here as it is. This is from The Intercept. Wonderful source of very good journalism. Headline here, leaked Seattle audit concludes many mortgage documents are void. Leaked Seattle audit concludes many mortgage documents are void. A Seattle housing activist on Wednesday uploaded an explosive land record audit that the local city council has been sitting on, revealing its far-reaching conclusion that all assignments of mortgages the auditor studies are void. That makes any foreclosure in the city based on these documents illegal, unenforceable, and makes the King County recording offices where the documents were located a massive crime scene. The problems stem from the mortgage electronic registration system, an entity banks created so they could transfer mortgage privately, saving them billions of dollars in the transfer fees to public recording offices, In Washington State, the MERS, for short, Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems, practices were found illegal by the state Supreme Court in 2012, but MERS continued those practices with only cosmetic changes, the audit found. This is a relatively breaking story last few days. I've posted it a few times on the Pardon Dissent Facebook page. But this is bubbly. You got to find the story on your own. There's a lot to read here, But that is going to be interesting to play out. How many homes have been foreclosed on with these void illegal records? I'm laughing because I can't cry. Yeah. One more story before I switch to some other stuff. This here happened again this week as well too. But this is kind of the flip of the coin. Before we were talking about General Motors and Volkswagens getting off with essentially a slap on the wrist because it sounds like it's just going to be money that's going to be the penalty here. But this happened this week. This is from NBCnews.com. Headline, ex-peanut executive gets 28 years in prison for deadly salmonella outbreak. This is out of Albany, Georgia. A former peanut company executive was sentenced Monday to 28 years in prison for his role in a deadly salmonella outbreak, the stiffest punishment ever handed out to a producer in a foodborne illness case. The outbreak in 2008 and 2009 killed 9 Americans and sickened hundreds more and triggered one of the largest food recalls in U.S. history. Killed 9 Americans. This guy is getting ready to do, and keep in mind, I'm not saying that he shouldn't. I'm totally for him going to prison. He knew he had a faulty product, and he chose to sell it anyway, like a damn fool. But let's compare some numbers again. Between 2008 and 2009, his poison food killed 9 people, 9 Americans, and sickened hundreds more, but only killed 9 people. Going back to the General Motors story, they killed 120, and they get a $900 million fine. And this guy's doing 28 years in prison. I'm not a genius, but 120, substantially higher than 9. I don't want to say one life is worth more than another life, but why is this dude doing 28 years in prison and the people at General Motors are just paying a fine? That's how do you justify that? How do you explain that? I think I can explain it. This is one person. Yes, he's an executive. Yes, he's a probably well-to-do person, but he is not on the scale of an executive at General Motors. All right. General Motors has a lot more money, many billions, a lot of money to invest in things like politicians and lobbyists. I think a lot of what we see happening right now, coming out with like the General Motors case, companies of that size, all circles back to the Supreme Court's decision over Citizens United, putting the money of corporations at the same level as individual human beings. That's the Mitt Romney quote. Corporations are people, my friend. So whoever is in control of the U.S. Justice Department, they've probably been told, look, we get a lot of money from our friends over at General Motors. We've sunk a lot of U.S. tax dollars into General Motors. We need a token punishment here. One that's, it looks nice on paper, but still very obtainable and not to a degree that it's going to hurt somebody. Should we send somebody to prison? No. We're not going to send anybody to prison. Because if we do that, then whoever we send to prison might start talking. And they may, tell people that, hey, there's a lot of shady deals going on. And I'm going to tell you about them. So, yeah, that's, I'm speculating. I don't know. I can only assume. The guy here at the peanut factory, relative to General Motors, his wealth is, peanuts. Pun intended. So the difference here is pretty easy for me to see. I assuming most of you who listen to this show see it too. Your value, your stature, your control, your influence, your wealth. How many favors, how many politicians have you bought off? That determines the type of justice that you're getting. Right? This is just, relative to General Motors, this is just some peanut farmer, right? For some peanut corporation. They don't give a damn about him. He'll go to prison. He'll get replaced. The company will keep growing peanuts. Everything will be fine. General Motors, a lot bigger company with a lot more financial influence. It's always about the money. Pardon the dissent. I'm going to take another little quick break here. I've got a couple more, at least one more story we'll get to. Pardon the dissent. Back at you. Last little segment here. Got one more story I want to share with you. Before I get to that, though, one more plug. One more promotion here from one of our sponsors. This is not so much of a sponsor as much as a partner at the Pardon the Dissent show. Aside from my live show being carried on AM950 KTNF here in the Twin Cities, I release podcasts of the live show and of this direct to podcast show, and I offer those on many different outlets: iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, Libsyn, But I'm also carried on a podcast network that's based here in the Twin Cities that I want to tell you about. And that is the Alive and Social Network. Alive and Social Network. They are a great group of folks who are putting together this awesome podcast network that has a little bit of everything, right? It's not like, sometimes like a comedy podcast network is just all comedy shows. No, this is everything. They've got The Breakdown, which is a sports show. They've got Story North, Adventures in Narrative. They got the Ford Outdoorsman, which is like hunting and fishing. What's another one? The Sports Ticket, another sports-related podcast. So these are just a huge variety in different categories. Sports categories, politics and current events type things, and a little bit of everything. They're growing. They've got great listenership, not only here in the Twin Cities, but also nationwide, and I'm assuming worldwide, since it is a podcast. But they're really growing, and they offer a lot of great content absolutely free. So I want you to go check them out and support them, because they are supporting me and carrying the show here. So it's just another way to listen to Pardon the Dissent, as well as check out a bunch of other ones too. So go to aliveinsocial.com, aliveinsocial.com, and take a look around. They've got a great website, easy to navigate. You click on the audio on demand tab, and it takes you to all the categories of all the different types of podcasts that they offer. And I guarantee you, if you're into podcasts at all, you're going to find one that you like and that you're going to want to keep listening to. The Alive and Social Network, aliveinsocial.com. All right, last story here, last story of the night. The podcast, and it's not night, maybe you're listening to it in the morning. Last story for the night for me. And this is coming from truthvoice.com, truthvoice.com. Now, normally, almost every show, I do a bad cop story, right? That's one of my pet issues, corruption and brutality in law enforcement. I always like to point a finger at that stuff. We're going to change it up a little bit. I've got a story here about an individual who committed a crime. He is not a cop, though. But he is a cop lover. Oh, yeah. He loves the cops. Loves them. He does. You might want to call him a cop sucker. Maybe that's what you want to call him. But this story, if you haven't heard it already, and you're like me, you like to see, bad cops get exposed and bad people being exposed. Oh, this is a good one. Again, this is from truthvoice.com. Headline: Cop lover vandalizes his own truck with anti-cop messages. Cops arrest him. Did you follow all of that? Cop lover vandalizes his own truck with anti-cop messages. Cops arrest him. Well, why would he do that? Why would he loves cops. Why would he vandalize his truck with anti-cop messages? Let's read the story. Let's find out. A Central Texas man who claimed anti-police vandals had attacked the family pickup truck has been arrested after police believe he vandalized the truck. Scott Layton told Whitney police on September 8th someone tagged his truck with Black Lives Matter and other graffiti because he displayed pro-police messages and symbols on his pickup truck. Doesn't specify what the messages or symbols are. I don't know what a message would like cops are awesome! Exclamation point. I don't know what a pro-cop symbol is. Maybe it's just like a pig in a uniform giving a thumbs up. Is that what a symbol? I don't know. I'm new at this. Back to the story. But on Friday afternoon, Whitney police arrested Layton on a misdemeanor charge of making a false police report. Right? That's going to suck, right? These are the cops, the guys you love. Right? You love the cops. You support the cops. Even through the fact that they commit crimes and they're violent, and there's over 800 people killed by police in this country in 2015, and more stories are coming up about the brutality of police officers, cops sexually assaulting people, cops molesting juveniles. Not all of them, but all these stories are coming out. But this guy still is a cop lover, so much so that he wants to disparage the Black Lives Matter group. What was he thinking? Did you just wake up? I got a brilliant idea. I do. It's a brilliant idea. What I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to do, right? You know my pickup truck outside? You know that truck? Yeah, it's a beautiful truck. You know, the one with the mud flaps and with the Yosemite Sam on there and say back off. Yeehaw! Pow, 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 pow. You know that one? Yeah, that one. The one with the rebel flag decal. I'm sure he doesn't say it in the story, but I'm sure there's one. You know, the one with the rebel flag decal, right? Yeah. Here, you know how I got all them pro-cop messages and them symbols? I got pro-cop messages and symbols. You know how I got that? Yeah, right? Because I love cops. Well, here's my idea. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go outside out there in the yard. It's not really a yard. It's just the piece of dirt next to my mobile home. I call my yard. I throw my Budweiser cans at. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to vandalize my own property and make it look like them Black Lives Matter people did it. And then I'm going to make them look bad and get to talk to my cop buddies when they come fill out the report for me. Man, this is a brilliant idea. It's the best idea I ever had. Next to that idea that I had about dropping out of high school. And, whatever. I don't know what he was thinking. That's just in my head what he was thinking. Here's a quote. Very disturbing, said Whitney Police Chief Chris Bentley. Bentley, that's my dog's name. Weird. Bentley said the investigation turned to Layton because after Fox 4, Dallas-Fort Worth first broke the story. Again, quoting Chief Bentley. We had initial video when the officers took the report, and then when we saw your story on Channel 4, when we looked at those two videos, there were some differences, and that led us to take the investigation into a different direction. Bentley said when they took the report, there were no damages to the inside of the truck. But when Fox 4 showed up, Layton showed them that the glove box had been ripped off and the seats slashed. This guy, I was making a joke. This guy really thinks he's brilliant. This guy thinks he is a mastermind, that he's going to, it's a twofer for him, right? He gets to make black people look bad. He gets to, show that people are out to get the cops. Look how much people hate cops. They vandalized my truck, spray painted my truck, broke into my truck, slashed the seats in my truck, ripped open the glove box. I don't know. Was he thinking? Did he think that people are going to feel bad for him and he could start like a GoFundMe account? I don't know. Layton, of course, denies the charges by police. Well, but these are your buddies. These are the guys that you love. You think they would lie on you, Mr. Layton? Layton denies the charges by police that he vandalized his own vehicle, telling Fox 4, quote, "That's absolutely not true. Absolutely not true," end quote. But Layton's arrest warrant affidavit said that Layton admitted damaging the inside of his vehicle for insurance reasons. Well, Mr. Layton, that would make what you said absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. Interesting how that works. And did you think I was joking when I suggested that he was going to probably start a GoFundMe account? No. This is America. A Layton family relative started a GoFundMe account to help pay for the repairs to the truck. In addition, car dealers and body shops even offered to help. Man, that's my buddy. My buddy, his truck got vandalized by them black people. Them Black Lives Matter. Well, I'm going to help him out. I'm going to fix his truck. Idiots. The police chief is asking people to stop sending the family money. He's working with the district attorney's office to see how to handle the GoFundMe account that raised nearly $6,000 and hopes to get the money back to the duped donors. $6,000? $6,000? That's like 2 mobile homes, right? So, to recap here, cop lover loves cops so much that he vandalized his own property to make it look like the cops were being, everybody's out to get cops. All right, even though we know that's not true because recent reports indicate that violence against police officers is at a 25-year low. From that same report, though. Police killing citizens, a 50-year high. But anyway, pay that no mind. But he vandalized his own vehicle in hopes to disparage the Black Lives Matter movement and make cops look like victims that people are out to get. And all that actually happened was he got arrested, and now he's got a spray-painted truck with ripped-up seats and no glove box. This is an American story if I've ever heard one. God, we're doomed. All right, guys, this podcast went way longer than it should. We're over an hour now. I'm done. This is it. This is the end of the show. Don't forget, every single Monday night at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, Pardon the Dissent is live on AM950 KTNF here in the Twin Cities. If you're not in the Twin Cities where you can listen, it's very easy to listen to the show live. You can go directly to the Pardon the Dissent website, pardonthedissent.com, and there's a link to the TuneIn service where you can actually listen via the website right there. Listen to the show live. You can call in, participate in the show, whole 9 yards. TuneIn also offers iPhone apps and Android apps, whole 9 yards. Boom. So, definitely check out the show. And again, if you can't, it's too late for you, wrong time zone, doesn't work out, every show we do is released as a free podcast to make it available right after the show airs. So, so check that out. I appreciate it. I appreciate the listenership that I have so far. You guys are growing in number, and you guys definitely make it worth doing, because what fun would this be if no one was listening to this gibberish that comes out of my mouth into this microphone? Oh, God. Guys, take care of yourself. Love each other. Be kind to each other. Again, we'll be back Monday night. But until then, keep seeking the truth.
Makeshift patriot, the flag shop is out of stock. I hang myself at half-mast. It's the makeshift, the patriot, the flag shop is out of stock. I hang myself. Don't wave your rights with your flags. Pull that beer, bro.